You are highly welcome back to our class of today. What do you think ions are? I know a layman may say that ions are hard and sonorous object, that is subject that makes sound. Actually, this is a layman definition. But today we are going to see what ions are and how can we identify ion. And this is for the chemistry aspect. In chemistry, not a layman definition. And that here is a word definition of ion. So we are now going to look at the definition and bring out the features of an ion, how we can be able to identify ions. Good. This definition says ions are atoms or molecules with a net electrical charge formed when they gain or lose one or more electrons, making their protons and electrons unequal in number. So when we look at this definition, this one is a precise definition of an ion because it brings out almost all the properties of an ion, all the features, how you can be able to identify an ion. So let's go gradually to the definition and see how we can bring out the features of these ions. So the definition says ions are atoms or molecules. Yes. Some ions are in form of what? Are made from atoms while others are from molecules. And we all know what atom is. When we talk of molecules, a molecule is a group of atoms, two or more, that are chemically bonded together. And molecules are the smallest unit of substances which retain the chemical properties of that very substance. A typical example of molecule is like hydrogen, SO4. You can see these are what? A molecule. Because they are what? Combined, they are pumped by a combination of two or more atoms. Yes, so some ions are made from atoms while others are made from what? Molecules, as we can see it here. So, and the example of that of the atomic ones are like sodium, chlorine. Sodium and chlorine. Let's go to the definition and see. With a net electrical charge. Look at it. Atoms or molecules with a net electrical charge. Wherever you see ions, you can see them with electrical charge, either positive or negative. For example, this one is having 1 minus, this having is 2 minus, this one is 1 plus, and this one is 1 minus. So these are typical example of ions. They have a net electrical charge, and net electrical charge meaning that is a total charge of the entire molecular ion. So this charge is affecting all the oxygen and hydrogen here. This charge is affecting all the sulfur and oxygen that is here. So this is that formed when they gain or lose one or more electrons. And this is how ions are formed. This is how ions are formed. They are formed when that very species in talking, be it atom or molecule, it forms ion when it gain or lose an electron. Yes, when it gain or lose an electron. So when an atom or molecule gain an electron, it is going to become negatively charged. When it lose an electron, it will become positively charged, as we can see for the case of sodium here. So this is how ions are formed. They are formed when they gain an electron, one or more electrons, or when they lose one or more electrons. This is how ions are. As for the case of sodium, as we can see it here, it will lose 1 electron. For the chlorine, gain 1 electron. The entire this one is having increase in 1 electron, and this one increase in 2 electrons. So this is how ions are formed, making their protons and electrons unequal in number. Yes, when an atom or molecule gain an electron or lose an electron, so this gaining or losing of an electron make the proton number of that very atom not to be equal to the electron number of that very atom. For example, in neutral sodium atom, in neutral sodium atom like this. The number of proton, let's say P, is equals to 11. And the number of electron, let's say E, is also what? Equals to 11. Number of electrons and protons for a neutral atom must be what? The same. But when atom now lose one electron, that is mean the number of proton is now greater than that of the number of electron by 1. That is when you see 1 plus here. Because the number of proton that is inside is greater than the number of electron that is at the outermost shell by 1. That is why we have 1. And when you see plus 2, that is mean the number of proton is greater than the number of electrons by what? By 2. This is how it's become. That is why the definition says making their protons and electrons unequal in number. So this is what we have for the definition of these ions. We are now going to see the types of ion. Number 1, we have cations. Cations. So these cations, as we can see them, cations are what? Are positive ions. This is 1. They are positive ions. Yes, when we say positive, they are carrying a plus what? Charge. So how do they form? These cations are formed when an atom or a molecule lose one or more electron. Yes, when an atom or molecule lose one or more electron. For example, let's look at sodium as we have been. Examples are what? Sodium as we have given an example. As we have given an example like sodium, that is when electron is what? Is loose. When electron is loose, that is how these cations are formed. They are formed when electron is loose. This electron may be one or more than one. That is it. Example of these cations are like hydrogen. You can see hydrogen here lose one electron when you go to the atomic structure. Then we have, let's say, lithium. Lithium is also removing one electron. Another example we can give here is sodium plus. Can you see it? We have magnesium 2 plus. Magnesium 2 plus. Then these are the typical examples that we are going to give. Let's add with aluminium 3 plus. In this case, magnesium is losing 2 electrons, while aluminium is losing 3. That is why it has plus 3. So, let's look at number 2. We have the anions. So, these anions are negative ions. Can you see them? Are negative ions, meaning they have minus sign. Yes, they have minus sign. And the way they are formed is that they are formed when an atom or molecule gain an electron. When an atom or molecule, when electron is what? Is gained. Let's look at it when electron is what? Is gained. So this is how anions are formed. They are formed when electron is what? Gained. And a typical examples. Let's write this one, e.g. Typical example of this anion are, for example, chlorine minus. Can we see it? OH minus, then SO4 2 minus. Can you see? All these are what? Example of anions. And this is all we have for the ions. We have seen the definition of ion and some of its properties. In fact, we have seen the types of ion, which are 2, cations and anions, and lastly we have seen their examples. So thank you very much for watching. See you in the next class. Bye bye.